as well go ahead.
And that is why you really shouldn't run across the street naked, especially with fireworks in your hand, because it's not a pretty sight when it's done.
Wow. So did you have to get the burns treated?
Yeah, and I also had to pay a few fines. Apparently, only in Oregon is it legal to run around naked outside.
Oh shoot. You know what? We're live.
Oh, wow. Now everybody knows what I do on my free time.
So, hello everybody. How's it going? This is episode 38 of the Heathen Haven. I'm here with Loki's Witch, and Dorian is he may or may not be joining us later on. He got stuck at work, so we'll see what happens. And let's see, who do we got in the chat? We've got Comedic Witchcraft, Zabora. Hey Zabora, how's it going? Kawaii's Witch. Hey Kawaii's Witch. We got Cece. Hey Cece. And so the usual suspects.
Yeah, we might get some new interesting people one day. Who knows?
So yesterday on my show, we were talking about the whole Charlotte thing that's going on.
Yeah. Well, I caught part of it on my phone. There was the Charlotte thing, the whole Google email thing, and it's just been one of those weeks where it's like, what can't go wrong? I mean, for crying out loud, my work had a lockdown procedure when Soren was at work because there was rumors of a guy walking around either in a bathrobe or a cloak carrying a rifle.
Wow.
A lot of stuff went wrong with the lockdown procedure that should not have happened. Nobody was hurt. Luckily, it was pretty much a false freaking alarm. But I got no sleep that day, and going to work myself, that sucked.
Yeah. Well, good thing that they were prepared for that. I mean, so in case the real thing does happen, they're prepared for it. That's good. And so what's up with the Google Mail thing?
Not the Google Mail, but the company email, the guy getting fired.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's what you're talking about. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was really bizarre because they just don't want anybody thinking differently or anything like that. They want to have their own echo chamber. That's scary.
Yeah. I mean, even with my work, they encourage us to get our ideas out, but we normally hold classes where we can do that with each other, talk about it, and then discuss if it would be a good or a bad idea. But we don't send out emails like that because it's a college. There's going to be the right and there's going to be extreme on both, and there's going to be the people in the middle who are just like, I don't give a flying rat's ass.
Yeah.
Which I'm kind of that person.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And this actually upcoming week, all the full-timers, including poor Soren, have to sit through 2 days of random classes, and one of them is pronouns in the LGBT community that you work with, which is a mandatory class for everyone. Part-timers, on the other hand, don't get to do that and have to do all the work around campus. And guess who they think it's a great idea to leave in charge?
Popeye?
Me.
Oh, you. Oh.
So apparently they're smoking something.
Yeah, really. Yeah, I had a training like about that long time ago, where we all had to attend a training, and I mean, for us, it was just kind of like, it's like hearing the same information you already know. You're just like, yeah, okay, sure, but it was mandatory because there was I think there was something that happened with a coworker who was trans from male to female, and there was an altercation that had come up between them and another coworker, and the HR got involved, and then the union got involved, and so they said, okay, well, you know, part of this whole thing was to have diversity training, which they called it, which was good. I mean, it's interesting. It's good to go through various trainings like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the part-timers don't get to do all that fun stuff. They just have to work 8-hour days those 2 days.
Right. Is it?
And I got to put up with being called on the radio.
Right. Now, is it one of those situations where they always have to have somebody working?
Being a custodian,
Mm-hmm.
your job is not only to keep things clean, keep the garbages from overflowing, but you also have to reset events. You have to move stuff around in classrooms because the students aren't allowed to. You have to do emergency plumbing problems. You have to do emergency rat removal, stuff like that.
Right.
So yes,
I'm sorry. I meant, do they always have to have like somebody available 24 hours?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So that's probably why they did that. Yeah, because in my work, it's the same thing, because they they have to they maintain 17 hotels.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so they always have to have a desk clerk. They always have to have somebody on duty. So they had these trainings kind of like on a rotation, so that they would do shifts. You know, it was just like I think it was like a 2-hour training, so it wasn't very long. But still, so they did it in rotations, and so because they always had to have people, you know, on the desk and cleaning up and janitors and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those more things, and it doesn't help that they're doing it on days where there's students in the school. So that just adds to the fact that I'm only going to have from 4 a.m. to 12:30 to get all that work done for not only that day, but for to get ready for everything for the next day too. Because we have to go in, clean up after them, reset after them, and do all the buildings on campus. And I'm not even going to have more than 7 people. I'm going to have less than 7 people to do all that. And 2 buildings have to be done before 7 o'clock in the morning. We're asking about, CC's asking about cord cutting in the chat.
Yeah, but is she talking about a cord as in a music cord, or a cord as in like a rope?
Or an energy cord or something like that.
Well, a rope cord is C-O-R-D. A musical cord is C-H-O-R-D. So that's why I was wondering which one it was.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. I don't think you could cut a cord. You might be able to.
You could. Just gotta have enough
cord.
Oh, good point. I didn't even
make it shorter.
You confused me. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, basically the symbolic of cutting ties with somebody.
Oh, I thought
what I was referring to.
Oh, I thought she was referring to, like, if somebody does a binding on you, cutting those cords.
Oh, well, it takes work and it sucks, but you can.
Huh?
As far as I know, you can get help with that, but
you can get help with that.
Cutting cords and bindings. You just gotta, yeah. I agree with CC. The summer melts my brain. Because I've known people who I've helped cut ties and cords with all the time, just to remove that somebody else from their life. But I hate to say it, even though no matter how many times you burn bridges and walk away, that person will always have a small thing in your mind, so you can't really ever.
Oh, I see what she's saying. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, you see, I wouldn't do that, because that, well, I just wouldn't do it. I'm not going to say why, because people always think that I'm some kind of a fucking preacher. So I'm not going to say why. But, 30 years of practice, you do learn a lot of stuff. But I'm not gonna go around preaching to everybody. But yeah, I agree with you, Loki. You always do have a certain amount of ties to people, and in hindsight, you may find out that you know you appreciate that connection to that person, and also
Yeah.
relationships do evolve and change from one to another. So the person who you were in a hateful relationship or whatever may soon later on turn out to be a really good friendship if you let it evolve.
Yep.
So, but I thought, because I thought she was talking about like somebody does a binding on you and you go and you cut those cords. That's what I thought she was talking about.
Okay.
Yeah. Because that's if you feel that somebody, like if you get a sense that somebody has done a binding on you, or you feel that way, you can do an unbinding and basically cut those cords. It's also something you can do if if you leave a coven and you want to cut ties with that, you can also do that. But it's a little different from like cutting a cord from somebody. Then there's the astral cord, for those people who astrally project, and you don't ever, ever, ever want to cut that cord.
I mean, honestly, I will fully admit, I love listening to your rambling and your preaching because you know things that I don't necessarily know, or you have more information on things that I don't know. And to me, I like listening to people with information, getting other views, getting to know what others see, how they see it. For me, though, I love it. I'm just that person that I will never turn away any type of information, that I will either remember it, write it down, or I'll sit there and go, or can you do this?
Well, it's just so funny because it's like I just feel like other people, like, they get annoyed with me because I basically just speak my mind. And they feel like like I'm being preachy, or have some kind of a negative opinion about things. And it's like, yeah, I'm sure I probably have opinions that other people don't agree with, but it's not like everything that comes out of my mouth is like law to be written.
No. I mean, to me, knowledge from other people is the best knowledge you can gain, whether it be good knowledge or bad knowledge. I mean, as of lately, I actually have gone back, because the reason I say that you can't fully cut cords and ties fully with people in life, because you always have that random emotional connection, is I have actually been talking with my ex, and we've gone to the stage of we're going back to what we had originally planned if we had ever broken up, and she was the one that fucked this up first, to being friends. And it's one of those things of, we're better friends than anything else.
Yeah.
And it's like talking to somebody that you haven't seen in years. Sometimes it's for the better, and sometimes when you try to rekindle something, even a friendship, you talk with them and you're just like, I know why I want to shoot this person in the face. I know people like that.
Yeah. And also some relationships, like people that you have sex with, or like in a love relationship, you might find out later on that the friendship is actually much better, or the opposite. You might find that somebody who you were in a friendship with, it turns out to be a fantastic person to sleep with. So it's different, and there's different levels, there's different types of relationships, and they can evolve and change into something else. So
yeah, I mean, I think I have always been that person to, you explore everything that you can, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If you can remain friends, remain friends. Yeah. If not, cut your losses and move on with life. You learned. Even with people that, like, say, the one person that I will probably never talk to or forgive again, if they come up to me and start talking, Loki will play nice for about 10 minutes before I go, so why are you talking to me again?
Yeah.
Become that bitter bitch.
Yeah.
And I know when I become a bitter bitch.
Yeah, it's funny. I come from a large family, and my mother was bipolar, and she was very abusive when we were growing up. I mean, like very, very abusive. And so there were people in my family who came to terms with it. Like later on, kind of forgave her, and then there were other members of my family who would never forgive her. I mean, just absolutely never, ever forgive her. Like, did not go to her funeral or anything. And later on, when I had the opportunity to, as she was getting older, she developed Alzheimer's, and she began to kind of slip further and further away. And then eventually we had to put her into a home. But I had an opportunity to sit down and talk with her and forgive her. And that really was a good thing for me to do, because it gave me an opportunity to allow all that stuff to heal, and to really see her as an individual rather than as a representation or a symbol, of and so I'm really grateful that I did it. I have another brother of mine who didn't. He never had a chance to forgive her and move on. And so, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I hope with my biological father, I kind of don't regret not saying goodbye. I don't regret being able to patch that up, because that was long dead before he was dead. So sometimes you have those feelings that you just can't. And for some people, it's closure enough to say goodbye, or say goodbye at a funeral, and for others it's easier to get it before that. But in my case, with my biological father dead, and my response was good riddance. My brother was upset. Did you just break a beer bottle?
No,
Anyways,
I didn't.
no, Soren, I heard a squeak. They're opening a beer. I'm like, did they just break the bottle on themselves? Because I heard a snap that shouldn't snap. But for me, it was watching my brother upset about it, because he was looking forward to the funeral that we never got a call back to let us know. I, on the other hand, wasn't even going to go. But for him, it did upset him, because it's a different scenario depending on the kid. And it can be sad when people don't come to terms with others that have mental illness.
Yeah. Well, yeah. All right, let me see. Let's see. We got Travis. Ray's is in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Travis.
I saw Moat.
And Moat. Oh, hey, Moat. How's it going? Moat of LaBrosse. He designed that that new logo I have for the Batshit Crazy Zone. That bat with the shit dripping off of it, the Batshit Crazy.
Yeah. I love that little bat.
Yeah, he's cool.
It's horrible.
Yeah, I like that too.
I think he does very good work, and I enjoy sometimes hearing his stories that get read by Planet Dolan. It's experiences in life as read by the Planet Dolan team. It's kind of always fun going, hey, I know that person. I internet know you.
Yeah, really. All right. Well, let's see. So, what we got on the menu here?
What crazy do we have?
Yes.
I don't care.
Okay, so I switched to Firefox. So
I'm always on Firefox, but I can only use Chrome. It will only let me use Chrome for Hangout, even though I had the the Hangout installed on my Chrome. I mean, my Firefox.
Yeah. That's
So
are you running the 32-bit version or the 64-bit?
64.
Okay, yeah, that's what you yeah, because I ran into the same problem. You have to switch to 32-bit. Yeah.
I'll just deal with doing 2 browsers. It's not like
Yeah,
Google's
yeah. I mean, if it's
paying
too
me.
much trouble, don't worry about it. I only did it just because I'm trying to sever as much ties as I can with Google. So let me see here. I don't know if we did this one. It's called "Is Wicca Another Word for Satanism?" Does
I
that
don't
sound?
recognize it.
Huh? Does it sound familiar?
No,
Okay.
I don't recognize the name.
All right. So let me get this all set up so that I can share the screen. Oh, let me see. Where is it? There it is. Start screen sharing. Present to everyone. Do you see it?
Yes.
Okay. And let me pop up the chat.
For Satanism, a lot of you are probably strangers to the word Wicca, but you can probably already get.
Do you hear it?
I can hear it. He sounds like English is not his first language.
He's got a kind of an odd voice. Let me back it up.
Is Wicca another word for Satanism? A lot of you are probably strangers with the word Wicca, but you can probably already guess the meaning Satanism already. Both are religious, which Christians strongly dislike. A lot of Christians believe that Wiccans are basically Satanists who deny themselves being associated with the devil, but is that true or false? Wiccans sometimes use misconceptions of Satanism to differentiate themselves from Satanism. And Christians thus believe almost 2/3 of the world's.
This pentagram is driving me nuts
Yeah.
because it's off.
The yin yang is supposed to be. Ah,
Well,
what the hell?
yeah, because I'm assuming the white is supposed to represent spirit. So you get the top. And let me see. So then you would have spirit, fire,
Water.
earth. Yeah, I mean, so everybody switches these around to different ones.
Yeah.
I forget exactly what it's supposed to be, but I believe that this would actually be spirit to earth, and then to air, fire, water. Because earth and water is supposed to be down, fire and fire and air is supposed to be up. Because you have the up triangle for fire and then the up triangle for air. So those are the ones that are supposed to be at the top. So it goes spirit, earth, air, fire, water.
Yeah.
But anyhow.
Yeah. Honestly, I never stopped to think about doing it by the triangles being up or down. I normally have it where it's spirit and then goes water, fire, earth, and then air.
Mm-hmm.
I normally do it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people, I mean, I don't think it really it's not that big of a deal. I mean, all kinds of people switch it around. It's really whatever feels comfortable for you. Yeah. But I just go by the alchemical symbols for the elements. You'll notice that the passive ones, air and earth, have the line through it, and then the
not so passive.
No, active. Yeah, active ones have it with no triangle or no line. I mean, and then the triangles going up are rising up. So earth, fire, and air rise up, and then going down is earth and water.
Yeah, I would say that actually makes sense, but also it's one of those moments of each their own too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it really depends upon how it resonates with you. how you feel about the elements. But anyhow.
Religions are a form of Satanism.
Did he just say like Satanism? Like it's such a dirty word. It has to go into a different tone of voice.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Actually, Satanism.
Firstly, we have to take a look at the main thing that makes Christianity and Satanism, God and Satan. While both Christianity and Satanism has an absolute powerful being to worship, Fakins proclaim themselves not to believe in either of two, but rather the goddess and God, both of which are not from Christianity, but does not mean Satanism. Or true Christian believe any deity which is not God is the devil or an illusion of him.
Another reason why they're not the same is their symbol. Christians often confuse the two symbols. One is a pentacle, while the other is an inverted pentagram with a ram's head on top.
Is he responding to this video?
I think he might be. Even though it's not a very well done responding. It sounds like he's responding to the video with his own, but at the same time, it's might be a Christian justifying something else.
Yeah.
But I don't. It sounds like what he is, but again, it's not a very good response so far for him.
Yeah.
Sorry, dude.
Yeah. That's weird.
A pentacle is a five-pointed star in the middle of a circle, symbolizing the Wiccan belief of the five elements and unity of them all. However, the inverted pentagram is a five-pointed star upside down. It does not entirely mean evil. For example, the swastika originally represented universal fortune. It is true Satanism and Wiccans alike use the symbol of pentagrams, however, in different ways.
Well, yeah. I mean, actually, what he said was accurate.
Yeah, that is actually.
Yeah, because I know that in traditional Wicca, the upside down pentagram is the representation for the second degree. And,
Yeah.
And then in Satanism, obviously they have the upside down pentagram or the pentagram with one point down, but it's also because it also the head of the goat of Mendez fits in there nicely.
Yeah. And honestly, when you look at the symbol for Satanism, it has the head of Mendez in there. That's the easiest way to tell them apart.
Yeah.
Sorry.
At least the vacant redate and the Satan behavior codes and the redate states that and ye harm none, do what ye want, meaning that
That sounds so cute.
English, please? I just sounded horribly racist. I'm sorry. But the person debunking it, obviously you can tell English may not be their first language. The other person, I don't know if they have such a stuck up nose or a flu or something.
Yeah, they both have a funny voice. That's why I thought it was the same person at first, but then they do have slightly different voices.
Yeah.
long as no harm is done physically, mentally, or emotionally, or spiritually, both to yourself and others, then it is free to do whatever is wanted. However, Satanists say that do unto others as they have done to you, and responsibility to the response, as well as do what for will shall be the whole of law. We can see that Satanists believe in the freedom of actions regardless of the consequences.
Yeah, but that's Satanists. For example, LaVeyan Satanists don't follow that. That's not. They already have their own, 9 laws and 13. I forget exactly what it is, but they already have their own sort of moral code.
Yeah.
That they follow. And the one that most people mention is the Aleister Crowley quote, which is from, it's a law of Thelema from the Thelemites, from people who follow the OTO. And they always do the last part of it they always forget the first part of it. And anybody who studies the Thelema understands that you have to put both of those parts in. You can't just cut it in half, because then the whole meaning of it is lost.
Yeah. And I thought that do unto others as they do unto you came from Christianity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And with most witches, pagans, and all that is do no harm. Bullshit.
Mhm.
If somebody is trying to hurt you, you better protect yourself. Don't let that fly. I mean, and most Christians I will talk to will say, do unto others as you wish to be done to yourself. Meaning, don't be a douchebag if you don't want people acting like a douchebag to you.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, and I think that's the golden rule, right? That's what they call it in Christianity.
Yep.
That do unto others as they would have do unto others as they would do unto you.
Yep.
Did I say it right?
Yes,
Okay.
do unto others as they would do unto you. And as far as I know from Satanists, their big thing is you do you.
Mm-hmm.
Forget what everyone else is doing. Or basically live your life your way. And that's why it's kind of one of those moments when they're like, oh no, they believe this. How do you know we believe this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also, then we also have to throw in the caveat of not everybody follows that Wiccan read, and
Yeah.
not every witch is going to have some kind of a moral code like that, or maybe they follow some other sort of moral code. So it's, again, you have to understand that everybody who studies witchcraft is an individual first, and then whatever they practice is what they practice.
Exactly.
And their moral philosophy and outlook on life or whatever may be tempered by all sorts of different, philosophies and ideas from around the world. They may take Buddhist philosophy or Christian philosophy or whatever and make it their own. So they're not all going to follow, any harm done, do as you will, or whatever.
Yeah. Everybody has their own moral code, their own ethics, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm pretty sure sometimes people look at my moral compass and wonder how south it points. I wonder too. So
your moral compass is like on a perpetual spin.
yeah, it's like someone's like, okay, your moral compass is now a fidget spinner.
You really fidget spinner. I like that.
I need to get a compass fidget spinner now.
Yeah, really, a moral compass fidget spinner.
Along for our revenge.
However, in some way, they also have a lot in common. Take, for example,
Or maybe is it two guys responding?
I don't know. This video is very confusing.
It is confusing. I'm really not keeping
both
track
of
of
them
it.
practices magic.
It's jumping everywhere, so
Mm-hmm.
Wiccans practice what they call white magic, and Satanists
See, no, Wiccans do not practice white magic. They practice magic. Whatever the intention is behind it is what determines whether or not it's quote unquote white or quote unquote black. And again, that's a moral hang-up. That's still part of Christianity, that whole Zoroastrian principle. If you are doing harm to, like, let's say, kill a cancer in another person, you're doing harm to kill a cancer. I guess that would be considered black magic, but you're doing it to heal somebody, so it's good magic. So yeah, so that I hate that whole concept of black magic and white magic. I just want it to go away.
yeah.
practice black magic. Wiccans intend magic for good purpose and black magic for evil ones. However, both magic comes from a source of energy not from God. Therefore, both of magic can be treated as the same thing in a Christian's perspective.
Now that's that's the argument that most Christians have, is that, well, it's not it's not good magic and it's not evil magic. It's all evil magic because it doesn't come from God. It comes from Satan.
Yep.
So that's kind of what he was saying.
That is sorry.
That's all right. Go ahead.
That is something that a lot of people tell me. It's like, well, because you don't believe in God and that you're going against the Bible right there, that means that it's evil, it's horrible, how dare you? And I will be the first to say, yeah, because it's not in your book, that means it's evil to you. It doesn't mean it's evil to me.
Right. Yeah. And then, but even so, in the Bible, there's always people who've done certain things that would be considered magic.
Yep.
Miracles and stuff. And yet they'll still wear, different colored cloths. Even though that's as sin. Not supposed to do that in the Bible, but they do it anyhow.
Both have identical holidays. Both celebrate the equinox and solstice. And Satans have worshipped the Walpurgisnacht, the night of the witches, and Halloween.
What? That equinox?
He Walpurgisnacht.
Okay, I did not understand a damn word he fucking said there. Or she or whoever this person is.
Well, he was saying that Satanists celebrate Walpurgis night. Walpurgisnacht.
I don't know how true or false that is. So
no, it's true. It's true. They do, or they recognize it as a holiday. But also, when I talked with one of the people from the Church of Satan, they can celebrate like pagan holidays, like we would celebrate. So it just really depends. But like maybe if you're a certain, but I mean they're individuals too. So they may have certain Satanist witches who don't celebrate any holidays. Maybe they celebrate their birthday, maybe they don't even celebrate that. But it is considered to be one of their holidays in the Church of Satan is Walpurgisnacht.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did not know that, and now I do.
Yeah.
Knowledge is power.
Yep. I mean, Walpurgisnacht is actually, if you ever Google it, it's actually good information to have. It comes from a saint who was put in charge of a church that was supposedly like an old heathen temple. And the hill, there was a witch's hill where people would gather. Now I'm probably going to give you the wrong information. But anyhow, I did a video on it once. It's actually a really good thing to look into. It's really interesting, the history of it.
I may have to do that later.
Mm-hmm.
Both a Christian holiday and a satanic festival of death. And the Wicca equivalent is the Samhain Spelten for
Samhain Spelten. That's what I heard.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that was. I gotta hear that again.
Is both a Christian holiday and a satanic festival of death. And the Wicca equivalent is the Samhain Spelten for
I have no idea what he said.
Sandbox Belten. It sounds like. So apparently we do stuff in a sandbox with bells. I don't know. I did never Google certain things like the phrases sandbox. No.
Maybe
never Yahoo it either.
Maybe he meant to say the Sabbath Beltane.
He might have, but yeah. Beltane isn't October. No, that's
no, it's not.
Salmain.
Samhain, yeah.
Samhain. He might have been trying to say Samhain, but it came out as Samhain because I've heard some people pronounce it that way too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that could be.
So it could just be a mispronunciation.
Mm-hmm.
Summer and Samhain for winter. The holidays are on the exact same day, explained because of their pagan roots.
Pagan roots, yeah.
Yeah, they have a hard time Englishing.
Yes.
Finally, both of them doesn't care what religions other people or themselves choose. They allow their members to choose whatever deity they wish, but they cannot force others to join or abandon their religion. They also allow their members to teach anything to their children as long as other children does not need to hear it. All members should respect their fellow wishes, beliefs, and notions.
There are a lot more similarities and differences between the two, such as Wiccans doesn't have a holy book, which Satanists does, or the fact that both call themselves witches and frown upon child abuse. I would have to say I support Wiccans and are a total different thing than Satanism, but seeing the pagans and Christian roots in Satanism, it is hard to tell if the two are actually related or not. The best thing to do is probably leave the two alone for now until everything is settled.
I think
everything is settled.
I think it's two people
Yeah.
on the same topic going back and forth.
Yeah.
And now that it's getting to the end where you can halfway understand what the hell they're saying. But the thing is I think Satanism does have some of its roots from Christianity. It's pretty much what I've been told, the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more about loving yourself and worshiping yourself versus worshiping a deity.
Mm-hmm.
So, honestly, it's each their own in the end, and that's one thing that they did say at the end, at least.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's, what was I going to say? I completely forgot. But, oh yeah. So yeah, because Satanism, it really started just to kind of, just to sort of piss off Christians. And, it's like, okay, you're going to call us Satanists. Okay. So we're going to actually accept that label and we're going to take it on and we're going to, we're going to take on that label and we're going to throw it back in your face. And they also kind of did it sort of with the Wiccans too, because they turned the pentagram upside down. So it was kind of a middle finger to this, to sort of to this kind of concept of evil, and that's my interpretation of how Satanism evolved. Because it's just kind of a big FU to Christianity, because I know the Christians were always talking about how pagans were worshiping Satan and all this stuff, and especially other pagans at the time, they were saying, no, we're trying to follow what our old pagan ancestors followed. We're trying to do, sort of reconstruct what they did. And that's why we celebrate the various festivals that we do. And we don't have anything to do with Satan and we don't have anything to do with God. And, they were put in the defensive that way. And Satanists just kind of like turned around and said, yeah, fuck it. Yeah, we worship Satan. So what?
Wait. Let's take this label. Let's make it awesome again. Fuck yeah.
Exactly.
That was pretty much them.
Yeah,
they were the equivalent of I'm gonna take back this phrase and make it mine.
Yep. And that's the same thing with why Wicca became such a popular word, is because it didn't sound like witchcraft. Like you would say, oh, they practice witchcraft, and people get all scared about it, or they see books and it's called witchcraft, and it was so much easier to just say Wicca. And then for whatever reason, because it didn't sound like witch, like Wicca, it sounded like, oh, it's some older thing. For some reason, it was just more accepting than witchcraft.
Yeah.
And so it became easier to allow it to become more mainstream and for people to be more accepting of it. And then obviously it got caught on, and then everybody started just kind of abusing it. But it is witchcraft. That's what it means. It doesn't mean that everybody who practices witchcraft follows a form of what would be considered Wicca, but Wicca itself is witchcraft, and it's always been witchcraft.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, and I've actually had to explain that to a few people. And they're like, "Oh, I'm Wicca. We have nothing to do with witches." I'm like, actually, and then after you go into the explanation of it, sometimes you get that deadpan look from the people going, "You're making this up." Because according to this book, I'm like, well, according to your book, you're wrong, you dumbass, because obviously you skipped half the chapters, because I know what book you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hilarious when you get some of those people who are like, well, according to this person, and you're like, have you read their other work?
Yeah. Yeah. Usually,
have you Googled?
Yeah. Usually, people like that, they don't know the history. You know, they don't know the history of European witchcraft.
I'm surprised half of them know their family history.
Yeah, really. So, all right. So let's see what's the next one we got.
Banjo music, apparently.
Yes, we got banjo music. Oh,
now.
Oops. There we go. Screen sharing, present to everyone. So this one's called From Wicca, Witchcraft to Jesus Christ, Darkness to Light. Linda testimony.
Oh, fun.
Yep. So everybody take notes.
Notebook out.
Hi, I'm Linda.
Hi, Linda.
When I was little, I grew up outside the church. My family weren't believers. No one in my family knew Jesus. I never heard the gospel before.
Apparently, you never even heard of good music either.
Yes. Out of curiosity, Loki, do you know Jesus?
Yeah, he mows the lawn across the street from here. He does a good job at it. Though the thing is growing up in a house where you never heard the name or the word or the idea of Jesus or God or the Bible or Christianity, that is difficult to swallow nowadays. Because you're going to not only hear it at your school, because people hand out those cute little orange Bibles on occasion, but you have classmates that are going to do it. Never hearing about it, it's a little bit like, were you homeschooled or did you live underneath a rock?
Yeah, really, especially in America. Yeah, really.
When I was 13, because of that longing, I read a book and discovered Wicca witchcraft and got involved in the occult, and I was deeply, deeply entrenched in that.
She was deeply, deeply entrenched. I love the words that they have to use. They have to find words that would sound, scary or dangerous. So anytime anybody looks into the occult or reads a book, they're entrenched by it, or they became entwined by it, or it's always some word that sounds, it has like some ominous tone to it.
They became interlooped.
Yes, exactly. Interlooped.
For about 2.5 to 3 years.
Oh, wow. Well, she learned everything then.
That was a long time. That's like a lifetime in teenage years.
Yeah, I mean, it was like almost 20% of her entire life.
I mean, damn. Poor girl. I'm so sorry.
It was...
Because right now, she can't be what? How old do you think she is? Like 16, 17?
She may be at least between the ages of 17 and 20.
Okay.
Unless she looks really young for her age.
Yeah.
Really, really dark. I fell into deep depression.
Depression has nothing to do with the occult or witchcraft or Wicca.
It has to do with your home life, kiddo.
Yeah, or it just could be that you just are prone to depression. Some people are.
That is true.
Very lonely. I was in bondage to a lot.
Well, being into bondage doesn't have anything to do with Wicca either.
No, I know Christians who are into bondage. I know Christians who do a lot more dirty things than you think. It's called being part of the BDSM community. You find out a lot of dirty secrets about the pasture down the street.
Yep. So if you were in bondage, that's you know, that's up to you.
Of fear, to the point where I would like lay awake at night, not able to fall asleep, scared of the dark, scared to get out of my bed. I would have nightmares almost every night where
Again, this doesn't have anything to do with Wicca.
It has to do with you did not feel safe in the environment that you were in. You did not like the dark. I still don't like the dark, and I'm 30, but I didn't like it even when I was a Mormon. The thing is the dark is an innate fear that scares anyone and sometimes stays with you when you're older.
Yep.
It has nothing to do with magic, the occult. It has nothing to do with Christianity or any of that. It's just a time of day.
Yep.
literally demons would come and
Literally, demons would come.
I want to know their names and their numbers and where they live and how they got into your house.
Yeah, but literally, demons would come.
Like, totes, literally.
I don't think people literally understand what literally means. Literally.
Probably not.
Back it up just a little bit.
not able to fall asleep, scared of the dark, scared to get out of my bed. I would have nightmares almost every night where literally demons would come and attack me in my dreams, in my sleep. I wake up terrified. That continued for, like I said, about 2 or 3 years until I was 15. And one night, I was having one of these nightmares. I saw for the first time that I was in bondage. I literally saw.
She literally keeps using literally too much.
Yeah. It's one of those, okay, I totally saw myself in a bondage outfit in this dream. So, yeah, like literally, like, you find a different word.
Well, I mean, if she's doing bondage with demons, you know.
Who knows? They might not have a dictionary.
The chains around my arms and around my feet that were chaining me into worshiping these gods that I was worshiping. And in the dream, Jesus came, and I didn't know who Jesus was. Well, I had heard of him, but I never.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I totally didn't know of him, and well, I've heard of him, but I didn't know him. It's like, did you just say you never had an introduction to any of that in your life before?
It's like, how can you grow up in America? And I don't know where she's from, but doesn't look. I mean, she looks like she grew up in any town USA, and she's never up until the age of 15 never ever heard the word Jesus. It's like, that's ridiculous.
Or the Bible, or anything about God. I'm going to also say this. If you're ever a kid and you're up watching TV late at night when you're not supposed to, do you know how many commercials for Christian junk that comes on for telemarketers?
Mm-hmm.
It's so, honestly, it was in your house in one way, shape, or form, lady.
Yeah, or even just going down the street, you've never seen a bumper sticker. You've never seen anybody write. You've never seen an ad. You've never seen anything talking about Jesus.
Or a billboard that says, Jesus lives.
Mm-hmm.
Find out more at this website at.
Heard the gospel or didn't know that he was real for sure. Jesus came and separated me from the darkness and rescued me.
Yay! And then she lived
Yay.
happily ever after.
I want to know what Jesus looked like to her.
Yeah, really. Probably the typical, Jesus.
White guy.
Yep, hipster Jesus.
Hippie Jesus.
And when I woke up, I knew that this was God. At school, I met some people who were believers, some kids who were believers, and they shared the gospel with me. They pursued friendship with me and loved me despite me getting really angry at them whenever they were trying to share the gospel, despite me yelling at them and making fun of them even. They consistently loved me and invited me to things, invited me to hang out with them, and kept telling me about Jesus.
So if you were in a situation where you were, let's say, studying the occult, and every time you went to sleep, demons came to you and bothered you in your dreams, I don't think you're going to be studying the occult for very long, because you're going to associate those two things together. So you're probably going to run away from that. And then if you do believe in demons, you're probably going to become scared by that stuff, and you're never ever going to study it again.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's the other thing. It's like, okay, why did you study this for 2 to 3 years?
And the whole didn't know what Jesus would make fun of the Christian people at her school to start with. Again, how did you not know who he was if you were making fun of people for believing in him?
Right.
I can't follow. There's very few things I can believe about her, except for maybe she did try a Wicca or witchcraft as a fad as a kid and found it wasn't for her.
Yeah, maybe she did. Maybe she like read a couple of books or whatever. But I mean, all of these stories, they're always the same at this point. I mean, I've heard so many of them. It's always the same thing. They study it. Something dark happens to them. They get scared. They turn to Jesus, and their life is fantastic again. Every single one of these stories is the exact same. From this girl in a pink sweater sitting on a bench in Anytown, USA, to Bill Schnoebelen, who goes onto a stage and talks around the country about this. It's all the same thing.
Exactly. Their testimonies are either the same or more lavish than the other one.
Yeah, and then the only thing that's horrible about the occult is their experience with it. That's what's so horrible about the occult, is their experience. There's no other evidence. There's nothing that they have. The only thing they have is their own reference point of what they believed happened or whatever they made up.
And I honestly think sometimes you're going to get the people who try to outdo each other.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I had this experience. Well, I had this experience. Basically, it's the Christian version of the one-upper.
Right. Gotcha. Yep. Good point. Never thought about that.
And that started to change my heart because they were so faithful. After that,
I love these edits. Just,
yeah.
I know. Let's just cut to a black screen.
To make it more dramatic. Increase the music.
It's like such a crappy edit. It's like, couldn't they have, afforded to get one more camera on her and, taken another angle so they didn't have to fade to black and come back? They could have just switched camera angles.
Yeah.
Or get a close up of her hand. That's one thing they always do, is they'll interview these people and they'll talk, and then they'll focus in on their hands to cut, and then their hands will be moving. That's why I did that in my Escape from Darkness, or what was it? Something Darkness, the video parody I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
9 months, I decided that I was going to try out this Christianity thing that they were talking about. And so I knelt down next to my bed one night. I didn't think it was a big deal, but the moment my knees hit the floor, my heart just broke. My heart just shattered. And I was gripped with this desperate need for God. And I started,
is in most practices with Wicca, witchcraft, even Satanism, there are times where you're on your knees on the floor doing stuff. How did this feeling only come this one magical time? This is how I want to know.
Yeah.
Because I hate to say it, in front of my altar at the time, I'm sitting either on my knees or I'm sitting Indian style going through my stuff or trying to light stuff because it's easier and it's more comfortable than standing all the damn time.
Right. Yeah. Good point. I'm going to back it up just a bit for 1 second.
And I was gripped with this desperate need for God.
So she had a desperate need for God and she dropped to her knees.
What are you doing for God lately?
She needs God to come over her.
Apparently, he does that for a living.
I started crying out to him and I told him, if you do not show up in this room right now and let me know that you're real, if you do not do something to change my life, then I can't go on living. I have to have you. You have to change something right now. In fact, I'm not getting up from this spot until you do something, until you do move. I will keep praying for as long as it takes until I see you.
So basically, she tried to blackmail a deity that she didn't believe existed.
I was about to say, I'm like, you basically told him, unless you do as I say, because I said so, bitch. Isn't that like spiritual rape to the deity?
Well, yeah. I mean, you're basically just trying to blackmail them. It's like, well, if you can't prove that you exist, then I'm not going to worship you. It's like, okay.
Then she might have been on her knees for a long ass time. Oh, look, it's fading to a bright light.
Yes, she's being taken up. It's the rapture. No, it's just these horrible edits. They're not consistent. They're all different. One fades to black, one fades to white.
Was suddenly covered with what felt like.
Oh no, she's on her knees. She wants God. God's coming over her, and now something's coming over her.
Oh no, this is gonna end horrible.
Yep. I hope she used protection.
It felt like a blanket. I couldn't see it, but it was like a huge comforter covering me from head to toe.
Wow.
Are you sure your brother didn't walk in and throw the comforter over you?
She was just covered from head to toe.
Literally.
Literally.
Like literally.
Literally came over me.
God, sounds like a horrible porno.
Jesus covering me from head to toe.
It was the blood of Jesus.
Dear God, what are you doing in your room?
I mean, I know she was into bondage, but I didn't know she was into blood sports.
What did you sacrifice?
Washing away all my sins. I was a different person when I woke up the next morning. I went to school and told all my friends, you won't believe what happened last night. I'm different. I'm a different person today than I was yesterday. That was about 4.5 years ago. Over the next 4.5 years.
Okay, so this
19.
Yeah, exactly. So sounds like she's around 19 years old.
The Lord has taken me on a journey through more and more freedom from the fear, from the depression, from the loneliness.
None of which had anything to do with the Wicca, but good for you. That's great. I'm happy for you.
All the stuff that was part of my life before I knew Jesus. gradually gotten more free from it, and today I'm free from that bondage.
You're free from your own mental bondage, sweetie. Congratulations.
Yes.
Oh my God, Stuart.
What happened?
If you don't use protection, God will impregnate you when he comes all over you. Just look at what happened to Mary.
Yep, exactly. See? Yep. Stu's got it right. Yep.
Oh my God. Oh, there's a reason why we shout, "Oh God!" in bed. Not really, actually. It's just the only word you can think of for some reason when something feels good. I don't fucking know. Porn makes it sound like a good idea.
Well, I don't know if it's just me, but it just sounds sometimes like some of these things, the way they describe it, it just sounds so sexual, you know, like the Holy Spirit coming over them, filling them up, entering into them. It's just it just always conjures images in my mind of sexual things. I don't know if I'm just a pervert or what.
No, you're not the only one. It's the thing is they make it sound so alluring.
Mhm.
That's their job, to make it sound like it's alluring, that they're pulling you into this because it's sexy, it's good, and you'll have that feeling of need fulfill you instead of giving into your bodily urges and going down to the club and going, "Hey, who wants to go fuck?"
Right.
Apparently that's not appropriate.
Do you think they're trying to make it sound alluring to people?
I think so, because according to a lot of studies and everything, it just sounds like there's been a decrease in people going to churches.
Mm.
But you do still have the people who go on holidays, the people who don't go to church but say, "Yeah, I believe in God." The thing is making it sound alluring or sexual normally gets or other people to go, I want to know what that feeling is like.
Right.
And sometimes it's not what they expect, and other times they elaborate highly.
Because it seems like back when I was younger, it seemed like church was pushed as this place where you could go and meet people. Like, you know, they'd have like church functions or little parties and little celebrations or whatever, and it was a way for people to meet people. So people would go to churches to, you know, to find, you know, hook up with somebody. I mean, would not hook up when, you know, the sense of like a one night stand, but I mean like to actually like find a relationship, you know, to find another good Christian man or Christian woman.
Yeah. To find that person that you believe is your other, or that is your other and your connection to blah, 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 blah kind of thing.
Yep.
Go to church for a day. Yeah. I mean, nowadays they're making it into you have to go to save your soul or to feel fulfilled because God wants you to do this. And it doesn't seem like church anymore is one of those things that you go because of the feeling of community.
Mm-hmm.
It's more those, it feels more like nowadays for people as an obligation.
Yeah.
And I've had a friend explain it to me. She's like, I will volunteer to work on Sundays because I don't want to feel obligated to have to believe in my faith. And she used to be very hardcore Christian. And now it's one of those, I don't want to feel obligated to believe in what I believe in. I don't like being told I'm a bad person because I choose to work on Sunday, where there's thousands of people who work as well because, hey, everybody has to work on Sunday sometimes.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I think if the church changed their position on a lot of different things, they'd probably get more people into their pews.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Well, you do have some churches that have changed their outlook on gay marriage or transgender stuff. You have that stuff that they're trying to keep more with the times, but then you have the ones that are like, nope, absolutely not. We will not have this. We will not speak of this. It does not come into our doors because it's not of God.
Right. Yeah. So, all right. Now let's see. Start screen share. Send to everyone. So this is called the Satanic Wicca, which doesn't make any sense, but anyhow.
When do they ever make sense when titling a video?
Yeah, really.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing right. How you doing?
I want to just
Nice newspaper.
Yeah, I know, really. What is this guy does this with all of his videos. It's like, why don't I try to make the screen as small as I possibly can?
It just feels more of a distraction than anything else. And then he's trying to be edgy.
Because we're not going to read any of that. You know?
No, I can't read any of that. It's too small.
And this is, so it's like a newspaper, but a newspaper is something you read, and we're actually watching a video. So it's a passive engagement rather than an active engagement. So it doesn't make any sense. And then he's got the fedora. I don't know.
I'm just going to relax, open up, and talk about Wicca and witchcraft. I have noticed that there is a large Wiccan witch pagan community here on YouTube.
Yay.
Woohoo, we have people.
Yep. And we're only getting bigger, buddy.
And
Join
watched
us.
several videos, and I've noticed that a lot of the practitioners of Wicca and witchcraft claim to be former Christians.
And you got to get a different mic. And no, that's not true.
I was going to say, really? Apparently they believed something before they decided to change? Apparently you can only be a witch or a Wiccan and then change Christian. It can't be the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
And there are even people who claim to be Christian witches. First, let me respond to that idea of Christian witchcraft. A person who claims to be a Christian witch obviously never had a proper understanding of what Christianity is. It is metaphysically, spiritually, theologically, and biblically impossible to be a Christian witch. If a person is a Christian and they embrace Wicca or witchcraft or any kind of paganism, then they have immediately fallen from Christianity. It's called apostasy. In Christianity, there are certain things that you have to believe to be a Christian. One of those things is that you have to accept the lordship and deity of Jesus Christ. And you have to believe that the Bible is Christian scripture, the inspired Christian scripture, the word of God.
Yeah,
Can you pause it real quick?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because I was about to say, I know me and you both have different views on this topic, obviously. For me, I have talked to people who consider themselves Christian witches, and how they've explained it to me is they have accepted God, they have accepted the Holy Ghost, they have accepted Jesus. They don't necessarily accept everything in the Bible to be true. They see it more as a guideline than an absolute truth. And because even in the Bible, you have people who are doing miracles, but that can also be considered magic. And sometimes they believe some of their own magic and energy they're putting out there is also a form of a miracle. So I understand where some of them have, but I also get where he's coming from, where it sounds ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I know
And-
both sides of the argument.
Yeah, that's true. But like when I did my video on Christian Wicca in particular, okay, ceremonial magic uses a lot of Christian, quote unquote, Christian symbolism. They use passages from the Bible. A lot of the references are from the Bible, from the Old and New Testament. And a lot of that is based from that. There is folk magic that uses passages from the Bible and, it's stuff like that. So it's not unusual that somebody would use elements of the Bible in their practice. However, my main argument was what one calls themselves. If you were going to call yourself a Christian, then you are following whatever. What's so funny?
Yeah. Oh no, Soren's laughing at an anime. they're
Oh,
watching.
okay. I thought that was you laughing.
No,
I was like,
that's Soren.
What is
That-
somebody doing in the chat? So,
No, Soren's watching an anime, and yeah.
okay, gotcha. All right. So, yeah, so it's kind of like, so it's the label. It's the label is what I've never understood. Because if you're going to call yourself a Christian, then that's what you are. You're a Christian. You follow Christianity, and this is a certain thing. If you believe in a monotheistic deity, then you're a monotheist, and you follow X and X. If you're a Catholic, you're a Catholic, and you follow such and such and such. So if you want to call yourself a Christian witch, I guess so, but to me it doesn't make any sense. The name is what trips me up. But I mean, if you are a type of practitioner who practices a type of folk magic that incorporates elements of the Bible and various Psalms or whatever into your practice, yeah, I completely understand that. But if you're going to call yourself a Christian witch, it's like, okay, have you read the Bible? Do you understand what the Bible says? So that's the thing that's always tripped me up. But again, I don't really give a flying fuck. I mean, if you want to call yourself whatever you want to call yourself, I really don't care. But it's just that's the thing that trips me up. That is so funny.
Yeah, and one of the things that I've actually told my friend, like, can't you call yourself a Christian magician then at that stage? Even though that'd be considerably about the same thing.
Yeah, but even ceremonial magicians, they don't call themselves Christian magicians.
No.
They call themselves magicians, and maybe they do have some kind of maybe they do sort of lean towards a belief in, and they do. A lot of them do have Kabbalistic leanings, and that's how they perceive the Godhead. Is the crap? Now I can't remember the name of it, but they believe in some of them. I can't say all of them. But some of them do believe in a Godhead, but it's not necessarily the Christian concept of God. It's a concept of a Godhead. It's a concept of a monotheistic deity, but it's not a Christian God. It is a monotheistic deity.
Yeah.
So anyhow.
Now, Jesus affirmed the Old Testament, and the Old Testament condemns everything witches believe, practice, and adhere to, such as the worship of any god other than the God of Moses, the God of Abraham, the one true God who created all things. So you cannot worship other gods and claim to be a Christian. The Old Testament condemns witchcraft, magic, spells, incantation, necromancy, spiritism, charms, divination, astrology. And by the way, that word divination in Hebrew, Hoysam, forgive me if I mispronounced the word, is a catch-all term. It's generic, which means it represents all forms of divination. Okay? So the Hebrew Old Testament condemns divination, condemns tarot cards. Tarot cards is one of the forms of divination. And the Old Testament clearly condemns everything which is believed, practice, and do. And in the New Testament, these prohibitions were not remote, they were repeated. St. Paul says very clearly in his epistle to the Galatians, chapter 5, that those who practice magic arts will not inherit the kingdom of God. Okay, so if you claim to be Christian and you're practicing magic arts, then you're not going to inherit the kingdom of God. It's that simple. And the book of Revelation says something of a similar nature.
Yeah, you see, that's I agree with him there. I mean, if you're going to call yourself a Christian, that means a certain thing, you know. And that's, again, that's what trips me up is the labeling. I don't quite understand the label. You know, because there's Christians, there's Lutherans, there's Catholics, there's Methodists. There's a reason why all these various denominations have a different name. It's because they don't exactly believe what that particular branch of Christianity that they're associated with believes. They believe slightly something different. They don't take all of certain doctrines and they don't believe certain things, and so they change the name, and they still believe in a monotheistic deity. They still read the Bible, and they believe a certain different thing. If there was no difference, then why would they have changed their name? There's a good reason why they changed their name, because it means something else now. It's something completely, it's not completely different, but it is slightly different. And again, that's what trips me up whenever I hear somebody say that they're a Christian witch. It's like, okay, you're a Christian witch. That doesn't make any sense, but okay, sure.
Well, go by what you wanna.
Right.
Because a label is a label that the person puts on themselves. But we all throw labels at one another. I mean, but what he's saying is, well, Christian witches believe in other. No, they stay with the God of the God of the Bible.
Right.
Gods exist. They just don't worship or use them. They stick with the Christian God, which is God. That's his name, or the Jehovah, or whatever they call him. Or they use Christ, the Holy Spirit, to what's in their belief system. They don't go out to other pantheons and say, well, I'm Christian, but I'm going to use Zeus today. Because then that would not make sense at all.
Well, that would be going against Christian doctrine.
The Bible.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I mean, it's not that it's not like there's just Exodus 23:18. I think that's the right one. 23:18 against witchcraft and sorcery. I mean, there's over 63 passages in the Bible that refer to astrology, divination, some form of magic or witchcraft or whatever that is completely condemned in the Bible. So, you know, that's the other thing that I don't quite understand. If you're going to read from and use in your practice a book that is written that is so condemning to everything that you practice, it's like that, again, to me, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, that's like, you know, I mean, it's like trying to hide amongst, you know, a Klan rally and expecting to be accepted by them. It's like, no, they hate you. You know, how are you going to be able to fit in with that group if they hate you? It's like, to me, it just doesn't make any sense. But again, it's not my practice. So, but yeah, that's the other thing that I just don't get about it.
Is people don't know how to inherit the kingdom of God. So you cannot be a Christian witch, you cannot be a Christian Wiccan. And I want to respond to this idea that witches and Wiccans don't worship the devil. There's people on YouTube who say that the devil is a Christian concept. They don't acknowledge his existence.
Because it is.
Right, exactly.
So they're not devil worshippers, but actually you are.
Oh my God. Oh.
I mean, I know you're not, but you are. I mean, you are. Come on.
Even though you're saying you're not, you are, because it's not a Christian concept. It's the truth because it's from God. That's basically what it's sounding like his argument is right there. Just because his God says it's right means we're wrong.
Right. Well, all their arguments come from the false authority because they say that everything comes from their Bible, and so their Bible is the authority, but it's not the authority. It's their authority, but it's not the authority. So it's like, it's just from there, it just keeps spiraling farther and farther into nonsense.
You are worshiping the devil. The thing you need to understand is that you don't have the spiritual maturity to recognize the fact that Satan is the author.
And they don't even understand the whole concept of Satan, because he was supposed to be the adversary. He was the one who was to tempt man, but God allows him to exist and to tempt man. And I mean, Satan took on a completely different role, especially after the King James version of the Bible. Before that, he was sort of like an angel, kind of like God's side man. And he wasn't always evil. He just kind of evolved into that.
Yeah. I mean, I've noticed that he went from being like, okay, you preach your thing, I'm going to try mine, and let's see who we can get to follow us more, kind of sounding person to me.
Mm-hmm.
And from that to just being anything and everything wrong with this world is all his fault. Yeah, it's the devil's doing for murder. It's the devil's doing for this. Or it's God's will, depending on who they decide to claim.
Right, exactly, yep. Yep, good point.
Behind witchcraft, Wicca, and paganism. He invented that system in order to...
Where does it say that in the Bible?
I kind of want to know that too. Where in the Bible does it say he invented Wicca and magic? And I don't think there's... I want quotes, damn it. I want actual words that says the devil invented... Not your... This is how it's interpreted. Bullshit.
Yeah, because if you are going to claim that your book is some kind of an authority, then where does it say that in the Bible? Because I haven't read the Bible a whole bunch of times, but I've read it twice, and I haven't come across that yet.
Take your attention away from the one true God. He hates God, he's jealous of God, and he hates you. So he created the false God.
And again, I don't think that's in the Bible either.
I don't either. And how do you know if he hates you?
No, he hates God.
Yeah, he might actually really like you. You just probably hurt his feelings. You're mean. You're a mean man, Mr. Fedora Head.
Destroy your soul and to rob God of the glory, worship, and honor that belongs solely to him. But he can't just come out and admit that he's the devil. That would be too obvious, because if the pagan community recognized the existence of the devil, then obviously and logically they would recognize the creator of the devil, which is the Christian God. God created Lucifer, and Lucifer fell with the third of the angels. St. Paul says that Satan is the God of this world. So basically, the devil hides behind this mask. He's hiding behind the god and goddesses of paganism.
No. A lot of a lot of cultures who had deities predate Christianity. They predate it. They even predate the Hebrew ones.
Doesn't want you to believe he exists. And you're looking at the situation through a mind which is marked by sin.
See, and that's the other thing. Even though you say that, you don't believe in that they don't believe in Satan and they don't believe it exists. Oh, well, you actually do, and your mind is just clouded by Satan. So it's like, fuck, you just can't win.
And the passions, you are fallen. You are fallen. You are a fallen creature, and you cannot even recognize and know the truth without.
You're a fallen creature, and you can't get up.
Quick, call 911. Where's my life alert bracelet? Jeebus will save me. Jeebus!
God's illumination. So you people are worshiping the devil, and you don't have the spiritual maturity to realize this. You're spiritually blind.
And the other thing about the, first of all, there's no real description that I can remember of Satan or even Lucifer, for that matter, in the Bible. But over time, especially with Dante's Inferno, that the devils began to take on characteristics of pagan deities, like in particular Pan, and had hooves and horns and a tail and then a pitchy fork and then red color and all of these things. And this image morphed, and now it's the symbol of the devil. But there's a lot of pagan cultures that have deities that have horns, and horns was a sign of authority and wisdom and knowledge. I mean, even there's a statue of Moses that has horns, and they're representations of divinity. So horns meant a different thing, even back in medieval times. And a lot of the pagan deities have horns because they're representation of that animalistic nature within man. But it doesn't mean that we worship Satan. We don't worship your form of Satan. You might look at a horned figure, like, for example, Pan or Cernunnos, and see Satan, but that's because you've projected that onto that image. So, I mean, in a sense, yes, we do worship their concept of what Satan is, but that is not Satan. That's what I'm trying to say.
Basically, they turned our deities into the enemy.
Right.
And just give it a different name and claim that it's what evil is, it's what Satan is what they're worshiping, because they decided to morph something that we saw as nature, beauty, life, stuff like that, and wanted it to look wicked and evil and make us look wicked and evil.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
And let me see here. I want to recommend this book by Craig Hawkins.
He's always recommending this stupid book.
Because that's the only book he reads, apparently.
Yeah, really.
It's called Witchcraft Exploring the World of Wicca. And he goes through the Bible, the Old Testament, Hebrew, New Testament, Greek, and he shows that these things are prohibited by God, clearly. He also points out philosophical holes within the worldview of witchcraft, which a lot of people are aware of. Philosophical holes like epistemological dualism. I'm going to read it back. Read it back in this book for you. J.P. Moreland wrote, occult phenomena in general, and witchcraft in particular, are on the rise in our culture as a wave of neo-paganism crashes on the shores of contemporary Western thought and life. Witchcraft is a timely, well-researched contribution to the ongoing struggle about religious ideas currently being waged in our society. That was written by the philosopher J.P. Morgan. The rest of the back says, today witches want you to see witchcraft as a respectable religion, a sensible worldview. They want you to see witches as, quote, the pagan next door, end quote, not as hags in black riding brooms on a moonlit night. But there is much more to this pagan PR than demolishing stereotypes. In the last 3 decades, Hawkins writes, America and much of Western Europe have seen a resurgence of the occult, including witchcraft and other forms of neo-paganism. A storm is brewing on the religious horizon.
You know, it's not that we want to be seen that way. It's that we have that right. So it's not like we're trying to become some kind of mainstream PR thing. No, that's not our intention. Our intention is that we want to be able to do what we want to do and live our life the way that we want to live it, and not be labeled and painted with this brush by idiots like you. That's what we want. It's not that we're trying to convince the world that we're okay people. No, we just want to be treated like everyone else.
Yeah, we just want to be given the same rights. We want to be given the same freedoms as everyone else. And hey, maybe we want to be able to walk outside and have our own little places like you guys have, like Christians have churches. Why can't we have a park for us to worship in? Maybe we just want to be out there because it's our right to. Everybody has a right to, and to tell a person, no, you can't because you believe in this. You have to stay to yourself about it. You have to stay locked in your house about it. Is kind of, okay, it's not kind of unfair. It's completely unfair. And granted, I know we're supposed to keep quiet, keep under wraps, all that fun stuff, but there are some things I think, like being out there going, yeah, I'm a witch, or yeah, I'm Wiccan, or yeah, I'm pagan. It shouldn't be demonized as badly as it is. Mm-hmm. We should be able to be able to believe freely and openly like everybody else out there.
Yeah. And the other thing that gets me is like, okay, so when you start talking to these people, they talk about, well, you know, and you say, well, what about other religions? What about Hinduism and Buddhism and all this other stuff? And they say, oh, well, yes, they're all constructs of Satan. You know, Satan made up all these other religions except for Christianity, which is the one true religion. It's like, okay, so why aren't you making videos about how Hinduism is evil and all this other stuff? Why don't you do that? Why don't you treat them badly? Why don't you pick on them, basically? And, you know, it's just, they just do it to paganism and witchcraft because, you know, because it's a minority religion compared to other ones.
Yeah. Well, another thing that because I did look into that one a little bit more. Some Christians just blanket with Hinduism and Buddhism. They say it's part of that, therefore it's under that umbrella. And even though personally I think Hinduism and their own separate things and may not have anything to do with witchcraft, but you can interpret it into your belief. Yeah, go ahead. But I don't think it should be blanketed as, well, because it's not a belief in my system, it's all part of this. That's pretty much what's happening.
Right. Yeah.
The church must be prepared. In this introduction to contemporary witchcraft and to neo-paganism in general, Hawkins shows you what witches themselves say they believe, what the Bible says about witchcraft and other forms of neo-paganism, philosophical holes in the worldview of witches. These are perilous times spiritually, writes Hawkins. Yet these are exciting times for Christians who know what they believe and are willing to share the gospel with others.
So who wants to put money on, like, let's, for example, I'm going to see if I can find this book at a library or something. But if I read this book, the quote unquote philosophical holes are going to be all from a biblical point of view. Who wants to put money on that's probably the truth?
I can already guarantee you it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've seen a lot of people like him plugging this book, and that's pretty much all I hear out of it.
Yep. So the quote unquote philosophical holes are from the same thing, from a biblical perspective, as there's no philosophical holes of any other sort. The only other hole I could believe would be there is that they would say that, oh, well, Wicca was made up by Gerald Gardner in the 1940s, which is a very common argument, which is either way, it still doesn't make Wicca, for example, illegitimate or anything wrong with that. I mean, if you actually look at the origins of Wicca, which goes back further than that, and even so, that's not a hole in the that's not a hole in the philosophy.
Yeah.
But I'm going to see if I can find that book.
I will be doing some thrift store hopping, and if I see it at one of the thrift stores that's Christian based, I'll grab it for you.
Okay, well, cool. Well, I'm going to go to the library. I'm not going to buy it.
No, well, it's a thrift store, so
Yeah. Well, cool. Yeah, if you see it, definitely.
Church, be ready for this battle for the souls of countless individuals. Oh, let me see here real quick the contents. No, it's too long.
I'm not going to read that because it's too long.
The table of contents are too long. Yeah, that's one thick book there, buddy.
For soul going on. I think the witchcraft.
Why doesn't he just highlight a couple of them and read them off?
It would be a lot easier.
Yeah.
And Wicca and paganism became popular due to Hollywood movies like Harry Potter.
No.
Ugh.
Witchcraft has been popular, especially in England, and going back to like 1850, 1830. So no, not just because Harry Potter came around and all of a sudden everybody got into witchcraft. There were people into witchcraft way before Harry Potter.
I think a lot of people, especially the young generation, teenagers, like the idea of having powers that can do magic and cast spells. I think it gave them a sense of power, control. And witchcraft is appealing to the carnal nature. Wiccans and pagans are always talking about how they're not religious, they're spiritual. Actually, they're not spiritual. In Galatians chapter 5, St. Paul says that witchcraft is one of the works of the flesh. Okay. So I encourage you people to renounce this nonsense. It does not matter how devoted you are to a pagan deity. They will not benefit you whatsoever at the time of your death. When you die, you will face Christ in judgment. Jesus is God, people. He is God, and he rose bodily from the dead, and he's returning. Okay?
Jesus is coming back. Everybody, look busy.
Oh, crap. Where's my Bible?
So I encourage you to renounce this nonsense, to burn
What?
legally permitted in your area. All of your
Why do they say you have to burn these things? Like there was this other new age hippie idiot who recommended burning books too. And I've heard it before. What is it? Why do you have to burn them? Why can't you just, like, let's say you bought some books on Wicca and you find out it's not for you. Why not just donate them to a thrift store? Why do you have to burn them?
I don't get it either. Are they more pyromaniacs than we are, and we burn candles? I mean, shit. Well, I can kind of see, but at the same time, I thought you just never burnt knowledge. You just put it aside, or why don't you just buy all the books and hide them? You know, put them in a chest, bury them deep in the ground so nobody can find them.
Doesn't make any sense. I mean, if you buy like a book that doesn't appeal to you, doesn't speak to you, you don't have to burn it. You just throw it away, or give it to somebody, or donate it, or maybe you can even sell it back to a bookstore or something. But you don't have to burn it. It just seems so needlessly destructive, and it's so reminiscent of 1930s Nazi Germany when they started burning all those books.
Yeah, it gives off that feeling, and we're putting up with enough of that crap right now.
Yeah.
Your occult paraphernalia, throw it out, and pray to Christ for forgiveness, repent, give your life to Christ, and renounce witchcraft, Wicca, and paganism, because I categorically affirm to you people that if you die...
Oh, God.
Huh?
He's like, because I categorically confirm to you people that he died for you. No, you're just saying they're saying that he did. Where's your proof? Your Bible is the only proof you have. I can hold up a cookbook and says, this book right here has every recipe that was ever made by mankind. And if you don't believe me, you're wrong.
Yep.
That's basically your argument, sir.
Yep.
You will, without doubt, lose your soul for all eternity. Okay? I'm telling you the truth. I'm a Christian, and it's right for me to tell you the truth.
Whoa, that is fucking arrogant.
That is like, because, okay, I'm gonna sound like a feminist here. That's like a guy walking up to a woman going, because I'm a white male, what I say is true.
Why does he have to be a white male?
Okay, because I am male, what I say is true. That's the attitude he has. That is the attitude he has. Is that because I'm this, it means I'm right, you're wrong. Somebody say, well, because I'm a woman, I have tits and I can pop a kid out of my vagina, anything and everything I say is correct. Which I know that's a bull-faced lie. Not everything we fucking say is right. You can't use your, because I'm this, I'm right. Yes, I can! Sorry, you don't count right now. And I'm not a racist. I hate everybody equally.
It would be wrong for me not to tell you the truth.
Right here.
I also want to say that I believe the Wiccan Rede comes from Christianity.
No, it doesn't.
No.
It says, and if harm none, do what you will. Well, Augustine was an ancient Christian theologian, and he said something of a similar nature. I quote him below in the description box, so I think Wiccans want to take credit for it. So anyway, they talk.
Yeah, I don't think we took credit for it. I think that we adopt it as just kind of a very loose rule, but I don't think we take credit for it.
No, I don't think anyone does.
Is magic, and it's all came down by Holy Scripture. It doesn't matter if you are doing magic for the benefit of others. It's all evil in the sight of God. Okay, these practices are prohibited by the one true God. Your Creator does not want you to engage in those abominable practices. You do not have a spiritual discernment to recognize how evil this is. And I also believe that a lot of people have become desensitized to evil. Desensitized to the weirdness quotient, as the former Mason Bill Schnoebelen said.
Oh, no. He's talking about Bill Schnoebelen.
Oh, no. Is he another Bill Schnoebelen fanboy?
Yep.
Go down and desensitizing them to weird things and to the occult. Witchcraft is objectively evil, whether you like it or not. And like I said,
Huh?
His mom's objectively evil, whether we like it or not.
A lot of us in society have been desensitized to how bad things really are, how bad witchcraft and Wicca are. Okay. So destroy your idols, your altars, come to Christ, repent, he will accept you. It does not matter how much you have sinned. He is a good God. He will forgive you. He died for you. He loves you. And he accepts you. You have to repent and renounce this wicked nonsense. Okay. I thank you for listening. I have a whole playlist against Wicca and witchcraft.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing. It's the same video, just repeated over and over again.
There's more information.
Yeah. The other thing I want to say is, if God loves you so much, why does he need your money? He's always freaking broke, and he never pays you back.
Yep. Yeah. Rent in heaven's high. You know, got to pay the bills.
Yeesh.
Description box.
They're sky high.
Oh God.
Wicca is the fastest growing religion in America and Canada, and this satanic deception needs to be stopped.
It needs to be stopped.
Information in the description box. If you remain in Wicca or witchcraft, you will lose your soul. This is a fact.
Joke's on you. I don't have a soul.
Witchcraft are pagan and satanic and pure spiritual poison. So I refer people to.
Is he walking or chewing on something?
That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
He's like walking, but like he has a picture of some forest, but he's not actually walking in it. So it's like, we're not going to watch that one again.
Yeah, but I just have to say the whole. Well, it's almost 9 o'clock too. The whole you will be losing your soul. I'm like, I don't have the soul. Joke's on you, fucker. I sold that a long time ago. I got a candy bar.
Yeah, but did you catch where he said that it has to be stopped?
Yeah, it's like, okay, are you saying pretty much that they have to be stopped? As define stop? Are you telling people to go out and hurt other people, or obviously he's advocating for blocking and obstructing people's belief systems, obviously. But it's one of those, well, it has to be stopped. Okay, what about certain sects of Christianity? Don't you think that should be stopped? Because some of these people are just crazy, and he's the poster child. Okay, Bill is the poster child crazy. He's his brother.
Yes. Yep, exactly. Yeah, and I mean, it's this guy's videos are basically what we just watched is basically all of his other videos. I mean, we have one more in the queue that we'll take a look at, but chances are it's going to be exactly the same thing. He always says the same thing over and over again. He's always recommending that same book, and it's nothing
always
new.
It's always Wicca bad, God good.
Yep, exactly.
Homer want donut.
Yep, exactly. Well, all right. So it's almost 9 o'clock. Dorian wasn't able to join us, which is a shame. We missed him, but he had to work. So hopefully he'll be with us next week.
Yeah, the pesky little thing called life always takes over.
Yeah, and we'll have to check with him. But what do you think about playing that Quiplash game again? I
actually want to play it. I want to play it this time with you guys, and hopefully.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you didn't have a chance to do that.
No, I didn't. Wow, I sounded whiny there. But I mean, it'll give him a chance to hopefully host without his computer becoming a boot.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see what we can do. Hopefully, maybe next week. Dorian will be hosting, and hopefully maybe we can play Quiplash again. And it was fun because people in the chat could join us. So we had like Ray's in there, and I think Animus was with us, and I think Travis was with us too. And so the audience members can also play along too, and it's fun. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. So we'll see if we can do that again next week. So
That would be cool because I did go back and watch that video, and it looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it. There was like, I think we played like 3 or 4 different versions. And yeah, it was definitely fun. So I think that's something we're gonna do like maybe once every month. So
Yeah, a break day for every month.
yeah, because I mean, if we did it every day, it might get a little
boring.
Yeah, a little too much. But every so often, I think it was fun. So we'll talk to Dorian and see if we can do that next week. And if not, we'll be watching videos again next week. But we'll see if we can play that game next week. So
yeah.
All
Well,
right.
awesome.
All right. Well, thanks, Loki. Thanks everybody in the chat, and we will see you next week. Blessed be.
Night, everyone. Good night, Logan.
All right. Good night.